heading into one of the most horrifically bad seasons of anime I can remember. Listen, I've been a full-time YouTuber now for almost 5 years. And over the course of those 5 years, I've tried to keep up with every single important anime coming out in every single season. And over the course of those 5 years, I am having trouble trying to remember a season of anime that looks worse than the fall 2025 season looks. And this is a massive slap in the face after the ridiculous season that was summer 2025. A season that featured shows like To Be Hero X, Dandadan, Gachiakura, Takabi's Original Sin, The Summer That Hikaru Died, and so many other shows. And yet when it comes down to it, even though there was almost 11 incredible anime coming out in the summer 2025 season, there might only be 3 in the fall 2025 season. And thus today, I want to talk to you about what to expect about this upcoming anime season. What shows to keep an eye out for, when they're coming out, how many episodes they're going to have, and what chapters of their respective mangas they're covering, and so much more, because today we're talking the fall 2025 anime season is going to be a disaster. But before we get to prophesizing the end of anime as we know it, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you're looking for one additional Nick video every single week, you can go ahead and find my Naruto reaction series using the fourth wall link in my description below. We're on to the one-on-one fights, and Kankuro's puppets are out to play. So, we just finished what is objectively one of the best seasons of anime I can remember ever. The summer 2025 anime season, a season that had me watching 11 different shows and loving every single one of them. I literally didn't drop a singular show. And in the winter 2026 season, we already have the confirmation of the second season of Freerun, the second season of Hell's Paradise, the third season of JJK, the third season of Oshinoko, the second part of the third season of Fire Force, and the continuation of Fate's Strange Fake. But in the fall 2025 season, the season that starts October 4th of 2025, we have, well, not a whole lot. Because while this season might seem top-heavy, with shows like One Punch Man finally coming back after a 5-year hiatus, Spy X Family, one of the most popular mangas on Earth, coming out with its third season, and My Hero Academia, one of the greatest mega shonen of all time, dropping its final season of anime, that is basically it. And while that might be enough for some of you, unfortunately, I don't have a huge amount of faith in some of these top hitters. And with very little promising sleeper anime, this might be one of the lightest seasons in terms of anime I can ever remember. So let's talk about it and go through all of the anime that I know I'm gonna watch, from the anime I'm the least excited about to the anime I'm the most excited about, which is only 4 anime, so it should be quick. But before we get into our list of 4 anime, I do want to do a quick honorable mention, because I do know in this upcoming season we are getting the second season of Ranma 1/2. Well, I should say a second season of the remake of Ranma 1/2. Now, I didn't watch the first season of Ranma 1/2 because I haven't watched the original Ranma 1/2. I know it's like a martial arts romance comedy, and that MAPPA is animating it, and from what I've seen, it looks pretty cool. However, I never really had the drive or the time to sit down and watch it. But who knows, now that we're heading into a barren anime season, maybe I will sit down and watch the first season so I can enjoy the second season. But for the moment, I can't really talk on it. It's just a name that I recognize. The first anime I am going to talk about, though, and an anime that I will at least start, is an anime being animated by Science Saru. Yes, the people who make Dandadan. And that anime goes by the name of Sanda. But Nick, what's Sanda? Well, it's a Christmas-based mystery story. And while you might be thinking, oh, I know what that kind of story could be, no, actually, you don't. See, this manga is actually written by the mangaka of Beastars, except nobody's animals in this one. So all of you who didn't want to jump into one of the best drama anime ever made on account of the fact that it is a furry adjacent story, well, fortunately, that mangaka's tenacity for drama and story building and high school stories is all put into Sanda, minus the furry stuff. Now, it doesn't mean that Sanda's not a weird story, because objectively it is, because Sanda as a manga is about a boy whose name is Sanda, a second-year middle school student, taking place in Japan in 2080. Now, because by the time that 2080 rolls around, Japan's birth rate has declined so rapidly that they're basically risking extinction, Japan implements a series of control measures on minors, which include things like not allowing children to sleep to slow down their development, not allowing children and adults to use the same bathrooms, and, probably most importantly, arranging marriage partners for boys and girls from infancy. And amongst all of this, also, Santa Claus has been sealed away because of a curse. Somebody put a curse on Santa Claus. And because that Christmas no longer happens in Japan, which makes all of Japan believe that Santa Claus has disappeared, and therefore it's loosely the plot of Elf. Sanda, our main character in the first chapter, realizes when another one of his middle school classmates breaks the seal on his body that he has the ability to turn his body into a body that looks exactly like Santa's. And thus, whenever our main character wears the color red, they're able to turn into a ripped version of Santa, and whenever they're their ripped version of Santa, if they eat jelly beans, they're able to turn back into their middle school boy body. And thus, and I'm not kidding here, this story is pretty much a straightforward, over-the-top, Kill La Kill-esque action shonen. And it looks like Science Saru has gone absolutely insane with the animation budget. So if you want a wacky, Studio Trigger, Kill La Kill-esque action anime, well then make sure you have Amazon Prime Video, because it's streaming exclusively there. Yeah, it's a Prime anime. But like many of the other anime of this season, it's coming out October 4th. So, give your money to Bezos. He needs it. He's so hungry. Next up at the number 3 spot of anime I'm most excited for in the fall 2025 season, we have Spy X Family's 3rd season. Listen, Spy X Family is either a show you like or don't. There's no middle ground. Nobody keeps up with Spy X Family if they don't really enjoy the story. It's a warm blanket and a hot cocoa that occasionally has some horrific murders as a show. And season 3 is gonna be a bit more of the same. Now, the ending of season 2 of Spy X Family ended in the manga around chapter 60. So the first season of Spy X Family adapted about 45 chapters of manga content, and the second season, which was only 12 episodes as opposed to the 24 episodes of the first season, adapted about 15. Now, we don't actually know how many episodes season 3 of Spy X Family is going to be, but considering the fact that it's almost been 2 years since the last episode of season 2 aired, as it aired in the fall 2023 season, I believe it's highly likely that we're going to get 24 episodes. Mostly because the 12 episode second season we got from Spy X Family came only 1 year after the conclusion of season 1. And therefore, since there's now been double the time between the conclusion of season 2 and the beginning of season 3 as there was between the ending of season 1 and the beginning of season 2, it feels somewhat safe to assume that we're going to be getting double the content. But if we do get a 24 episode season, then it's safe to assume that we'll probably adapt somewhere in the region of 45-ish chapters of the manga. As of the course of 37 episodes, we've adapted about 60 chapters of the manga, giving us an actually pretty low for modern day anime 1.62 manga chapters per anime episode burn rate, which means 24 episodes would give us somewhere in the region of 38 chapters, which would work out well because that could mean that the ending of season 3 could leave us somewhere in the region of chapter 100 in the manga. And for those of you who don't know, there's only about 123 chapters in Spy X Family right now. Does that feel like a lot of chapters for Spy X Family? Well, yeah, it is. That's almost as much as Gachiakada. I do not know how the mangaka keeps coming up with ideas for missions. But what will we be seeing in this new season of Spy X Family? More Spy... I'll tell you the arcs. So the first arc that we'll be diving into in season 3 of Spy X Family is going to be the Friendship Schemes arc, which revolves pretty heavily around Yor making a friendship with an unexpected person, and Anya trying really hard to improve her friendship with Damien, because obviously if they become friends, then Damien invites Anya over to his house, and then Lloyd's able to meet Damien's father, and so on and so forth. So, you know, more Spy X Family. However, after the Friendship Schemes arc, we're actually getting into one of my favorite arcs of Spy X Family, which is the Red Circus arc, which I believe will take up probably the majority of the first 12 episodes of this 24 episode run of Spy X Family. See, in this arc, while on a school trip, Anya's school bus actually gets hijacked by the Red Circus terrorist group. And thus Anya and all of her classmates have to figure out a way to work together to solve this bus jacking without dying horrific deaths. Listen, if you enjoyed the times that we get to spend with Anya in this story, you're gonna love this arc. The ending of season 2 was very, very heavily focused on Yor, her assassination network, her protection duty, and thus we got a lot of incredible action and really cool fights. And while that's not exactly gonna be what we get in the Red Circus arc, it's gonna deliver a lot more on the comedy aspects, the scheme aspects, and Anya trying to mask the fact that she can read everyone's minds. So, like I said, if you enjoy Spy X Family, you're gonna enjoy this season. It's a show made through a combined effort of Cloverworks and Wit Studios. It's gonna be gorgeous. Next up on our list of shows I'm excited for in the fall 2025 anime season, at our number 2 spot, I have the 3rd season of One Punch Man.
What, Nick? You love One Punch Man. It's one of your favorite action manga of all time, and it's coming back after a 5-year hiatus. How is it at number 1?
Well, here's the thing. It would be. And listen, I would put One Punch Man's 3rd season at my number 1 spot if JC Studios, the people who are animating it after a 5-year hiatus, were excited about it. At all. I'm sorry, it's JC Staff, which is stupid. Make it JC Studio. Yes, JC Staff has come out and said, don't worry, season 3 of One Punch Man is not going to disappoint, but That's the bare minimum. Some people are using this statement to hype up the upcoming season, being like, oh, JC Staff said it's gonna be sick. No, that's not what they said. They said, don't worry, this season's not going to disappoint. And it's like, what else would they say? Hey, we didn't crush it. If we're being real, we probably need another couple of years. But watch it, because we need the money. See, one would assume that JC Staff, which is best known for Toradora, Food Wars, Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Psyche K, and One Punch Man would probably focus on One Punch Man on account of the fact that all those other shows are not currently running, except for Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Is that still running? Anyways, you would assume that One Punch Man would have pretty much the entirety of their undivided attention. And yet, even though the show is supposed to be coming out October 12th, in less than 2 weeks, all that we've gotten from JC Staff is a couple of teaser trailers that are less than 45 seconds long, and in all those teaser trailers, basically all that we see are stills of the S-Class heroes, and while there is some action spliced in there, it's nothing crazy. It's an S-Class hero turning into a beam of light and then blowing up a couple of monsters, or people like Atomic Samurai pulling out their sword and then putting it away, and all of the monsters around them being diced. If we're being entirely real, it looks exactly like Season 2, the season of One Punch Man that was critically panned for being a massive downgrade from Season 1. On top of this, even though it's been 5 years since Season 2 of One Punch Man, accredited leakers have come out and said that Season 3 is only going to be 12 episodes long, which makes sense because both Season 1 and Season 2 were only 12 episodes long. But since the adaptation burn rate of One Punch Man is absolutely insane, as they burned through 82 chapters of content in just 24 episodes of anime, showing off a blistering, industry-leading almost 4 chapters per episode manga burn rate, that means even if we do only get 12 or so episodes, we should expect somewhere in the region of 41 to 42 chapters of manga content to be adapted, which means realistically we would see Season 3 of One Punch Man leave off somewhere around chapter 126 of the manga, which is interesting. See, because I know a lot of people wanted to see the Saitama versus Garo fight, but that battle between Saitama and awakened Garo doesn't start happening until chapter 164, ending somewhere in the region of chapter 170. Now, if hypothetically the season was 24 episodes long, that would work kind of perfectly. We'd probably need 1 or 2 extra episodes, so the season would have to be 25 or 26 episodes long, because only 82 chapters have been adapted in the first 24 episodes, and that's already a blistering pace. To get to the end of the Garo fight, we would need to adapt about 86 chapters, so that's where that additional maybe episode or 2 comes in. However, I don't think that's gonna happen. One, because in the One Punch Man Season 3 poster, where we see Garo and Saitama standing back to back with the moon in between them, still cracked from Saitama's impact when he was blown there by Boros and jumped back, Garo has his red, semi-awakened hair. But it's not fully awakened, demonized Garo we're talking about here. He's still human, and thus I doubt, unfortunately, for all of you holding out for Saitama versus Garo, that we won't be seeing it in this season of One Punch Man. And thus you're beginning to understand why I'm not as excited for One Punch Man as I probably could be. But that doesn't mean I'm not excited. See, I genuinely believe that the Raid of the Monster Association is the best arc in One Punch Man, and it's actually probably one of the best arcs in action manga history. In this arc, we get to see some insane fights, like Terrible Tornado versus Psycho Sorochi, which I believe is actually how this season is going to end, because that happens around chapter 126. Semi-awakened Garo versus Blackluster, the reveal of Drive Knight, the reveal of a new form for Genos, and so much more. However, I think one of the biggest things that makes the Monster Association arc one of the greatest action manga arcs of all time is the artwork. The reveal of Psycho Sorochi is one of the most insane manga panels I've ever seen, and it makes you begin to understand why Yusuke Murata is not put under any kind of time constraints in terms of how long it takes to put One Punch Man chapters out. That and the fact that one seemingly doesn't want to finish this story, so maybe none of this will matter in the long run anyways. But yes, this entire arc is going to revolve around S-Class heroes that you've maybe never met before, fighting incredibly high-ranking monsters in some of, or at least what should be some of, the most beautiful fights ever penned. So can JC Staff pull it off? Well, I guess we're gonna have to wait and find out. But come October 12th, you bet your bottom dollar I'm finding out. But with all that out of the way, we should get to the #1 anime. The anime I am most excited for coming out in the fall 2025 season, and that is none other than MHA's final season. The anime of MHA only has about 31 more chapters to adapt, with season 7 ending somewhere around chapter 399 and the manga ending at chapter 430. Now, those 399 manga chapters have been converted into about 159 anime episodes, telling us that MHA has about a 2.5 manga chapter per anime episode burn rate. Now, if you divide the 31 chapters left in the story by that number, you get 12.4 episodes, which probably explains why season 7 was 21 episodes long, because they wanted to leave exactly enough manga content behind to adapt one 12-episode anime arc. So what should you expect from the ending of MHA? Well, if some of you were hoping that the ending of MHA would be expanded upon in the anime, I don't think that's gonna happen. Yes, we got additional content with the final volume of MHA that expanded on the ending that we got in the manga, and I do believe that will be adapted alongside the actual ending we got in chapter 430, but I don't think there's gonna be any kind of anime original ending. They planned too perfectly to get a 12-episode season wedged in there at the end. Now, in terms of the content that we're gonna be getting from this season, it should probably be the best MHA ever created, actually, which is a shame because MHA has been dwindling in popularity for the last couple of years. See, not only is the most intense arc in all of MHA being adapted, which is the last 30 chapters of the war arc against All for One and Shigaraki, but also, and this is a swap that a lot of you probably didn't know about, Bones is no longer animating MHA. Now it's Bones Films. But Nick, what does that mean? Well, a lot of the bigger animation studios like Bones and Studio Period in the last couple of years created subsections of their own companies, their film subsections. Studio Period created their subsection to handle TYBW and all of the movies they work on, and Bones followed suit, with Bones Films taking on things like MHA's You're Next, the last of MHA's movies, and Vigilantes, which is by far and away the best looking MHA project that's ever been created. And therefore, while Bones has absolutely over the last couple of years pulled some of their budget away from MHA, or maybe just simply hasn't reinvested into MHA to make it look like modern day anime looks, as it's getting better every single year, Bones has caught a lot of flack for MHA being one of the uglier mega shonen, with people constantly comparing how the anime looks to the manga, and Bones constantly being criticized for using still frames in their fights. However, it seems like they've heard our complaints, which is why they not only made Bones Films, but also made sure that Bones Films would be in charge of the last 12 episodes of MHA. So not only are we going to be getting our grimiest, grittiest, bloodiest battles in MHA ever that feature unprecedented scale, power, and feats, but it also should very consistently look like movie quality. And considering how the MHA movies look, that is quite the promise. So, well, yeah, even though MHA may not be as popular as it was at one point, I'm as hyped for MHA as I've ever been, but also I'm in the rare minority of people who actually really enjoyed MHA's manga end. So maybe I'm biased, but I'm curious to hear from you guys. What are you most excited for coming up in the fall 2025 anime season? Let me know in the comments below, and while it goes down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I said this, MHA comes out October 4th, and so does Spy X Family, and so does Sanda. Basically, the only thing that's not coming out October 4th is One Punch Man, which comes out October 12th. Also, if you want to watch To Your Eternity Season 3, if you were able to drudge through Season 2, that also comes out October 4th. But don't worry if you're like, oh, October 4th is too stuffed with anime. My friend's little sister has it in. For me, doesn't come out until October 5th, so you'll have a day to watch it on its own.